Hey, what's up guys, Rev here. I regret to inform you that the localizers are at it again, abusing their positions to butcher and redefine the meaning of anime, manga, and other Japanese products that they're entrusted to properly translate. Over the past couple of weeks, I've been tracking various examples of these related behaviors, leading to this Localizer L's compilation that we're going to work through today, which includes another example of a localizer inserting irrelevant Western terminology into their translations, as well as another appearance by the localizer final boss, the CEO of Unprofessional Translations, a woman who has never met a source of valid criticism that she hasn't blocked on Twitter, our good old pal, Katrina. Because after all, it's important to keep a close eye on localizers and hold them accountable for their mistakes and nefarious intentions to ensure readers that they're getting the most accurate translations, just like the purpose of today's video. But before we get into any more examples, I want to address a common solution many people have presented when dealing with localizations. If you don't like the translations they provide, you can avoid that entire problem by learning the original language yourself and consuming the content directly without having to rely on people who might mishandle the product. That solution is quite a good one actually, and one you can accomplish with the help of today's sponsor, Babbel. Now, what is Babbel? Well, it's a language learning app that teaches you to speak, read, and listen in new languages. It provides tools including lessons, games, podcasts, videos, and live online classes with expert teachers. This is a system that is scientifically proven to help you start speaking a new language in only 3 weeks. Babbel is a great fit for foreign media consumption, or for those simply looking for a few basics to help with overseas trips and everything in between. Unlock entire mediums you didn't have access to before by learning a new language through Babbel. Localizers don't just butcher Japanese products. The same concerns affect translated media from other languages as well. And with a 20-day money-back guarantee, you got nothing to lose by trying. So if you're interested in learning a new language while also greatly supporting this channel, just click the link in the pinned comment that'll get you 60% off your Babbel subscription. With many subscription options, there's bound to be a plan tailored to your needs. Thanks again to Babbel for sponsoring this video. Now let's return to the content. Okay, so welcome back. I want to start with this policy update that was recently noticed by some viewers. This is coming out of Capcom. You probably know who they are. They're responsible for some big game titles like Monster Hunter, Resident Evil. They're also known for some localizations like their Ace Attorney localization. Well, recently they updated their essentially mission statement about their localizations, and I think some of the terminology they used is very interesting and possibly concerning. So in the beginning here, they're talking about the need for localization and that that type of content is being consumed more and more, and that they need to ensure the viewer is getting the best available localization and so on and so forth. But this is the section that we really care about. So it says, by carrying out localization concurrently with development rather than following completion of the Japanese language version as had been done in the past, Capcom is able to launch games simultaneously around the globe. What is more, depending on the country, simply translating games developed under Japanese norms can end up hurting users unexpectedly due to historical, religious, or cultural differences. Yeah, that last part is very eyebrow-raising. So I kind of get what they're going for in the top part here. Like they're making very fast translations, and they have a right to, be monitoring these fast translations, especially machine translations, to have a human behind it to actually look at these things and make sure there's not some error or something that just won't be understood under a different language, right? But this part here, introducing this concept of Japanese norms and whatever that means, and how it can end up hurting users based on these reasons here. This is very open-ended and pretty concerning because I feel like this language could be used by localizers to justify some pretty radical changes and inserts of localizations where they're probably not necessary. Like, you could find anything and say, oh, well, this is a Japanese norm that might hurt users from different cultures, so we need to change it. I mean, I see how localizers could run wild with this, and I understand why people have pointed this out. This is a very recent update to their localization mission statement here, and I understand the concern. I get it. It's a very weird one, and I wish there'd be more clarity about this, because this underlined section seems pretty concerning. And speaking of which, here we have High Dive getting in trouble. Here's a recent example of localizers having a little bit too much freedom. So people have pointed out some differences between the original translations and the localizations provided by High Dive when it comes to the English releases of the Dangers in My Heart manga and anime. So let's look at the original basic translation of this manga panel from the series. It says, "Did I just give my bizarre take on fashion theory to a pro model?" Now that seems very cut and dry, right? I think anyone can understand what this panel is saying, even without knowing the context or anything happening before it. This seems very straightforward. Why would you need to localize this any more forward? Well, in the High Dive anime localization, they changed that line of dialogue to, "What? Did I just start mansplaining fashion to a literal pro model?" Yes, that mansplaining terminology there was inserted for absolutely no reason. I mean, it's just another annoying buzzword you see on places like Twitter where it's added in here and it just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't add any value. So I don't understand why they inserted this term other than just to use a fancy buzzword that they like. And like I said, this is very cut and dry language here. Everyone understands this, so please explain why you changed it to mansplaining in this localization. But I bring this up not only to prove that these localization situations are happening right up until this day. We have a solution, and one that people need to push more, and that is raising your voices about these localizations. They may seem very small in isolation like the one we just looked at. It doesn't ruin the series, but it does raise eyebrows. And it makes you think they have liberty to change whatever they want. Well, you got to make sure you tell them, no, you don't. Please translate properly and do not force in this unnecessary language with your localizations. And in this case, it worked. People complaining on Twitter about this actually made High Dive go back and fix their translation back to the original dialogue. It works, and I think that's something more people need to do. So now I want to switch gears for the end of this video and revisit our good old pal Katrina. Katrina serves as like the bat symbol for bad localizer takes. She's been featured many times on this channel. I don't want to get too bogged down into her past, but basically she is the face of localization and all of the problems that come with it, okay? Her theories about localization are quite damaging, and, you know, she is once again involved in some upcoming projects, and I think it's important to let people know that she is a part of them, because you have a right to want to know what she's a part of, because people have valid concerns about her, because she's been responsible for inserting all kinds of Zoomer language into her translations. You know, you have like the classic Yeats, Big Brother. She was also the one trying to justify turning a cross-dressing male character into a trans character for unknown reasons. And she's done a lot of other stuff, like she's responsible for spreading the localization theory that you should self-insert right here. She loves to say this is a great function for localizers, to self-insert into the place of the characters that they are translating for, which is very, very strange. And in her eyes, it justifies changing the meaning of some of the dialogue to satisfy this self-insert. But you can see complaining about fan service, calling anime fans creepy and weird. It just shows that she doesn't really even like this industry, and it begs the question, why are you even here? She's responsible for things like this, relating to all of our previous talks in this video about learning other cultures and things. I mean, this tweet right here, the primary purpose of media translation is not to teach weebs Japanese and about Japan. It definitely can be about that. I don't understand where this take is coming from. It just seems like, again, more disliking of your own industry and calling your fans, or the readers of your product, weebs and all these things. Like, why are you here? I don't get it. But people have been talking about this right here. So Katrina recently announced that she was the lead localization engineer for the Persona 3 Reload that is coming, some people say, I think it's about a year from now. Yeah, she is the lead localization engineer. I'm sure on this Reload, she will definitely not add in unnecessary localizations. No way, as the lead localizer, no way. Of course, those concerns are very valid, okay? And another thing that she is involved in is some more high dive projects, this time the anticipated horror supernatural series Dark Gathering, another one that she is involved in. And once again, people are validly concerned because we're going to keep ending up with situations like this. I like to point to this one all the time, but you know what? Localizations are largely unnecessary and mostly trash. That's the thing. They turn out like this. They are disasters. And it's really frustrating to see, and I think keeping up with these things, raising your voices, tracking the bad apples in the localizer community is important, and it's something that we should all participate in. And yeah, I think that's going to do it for this video, the latest update on the localizer scene. Please share all of your related thoughts on the topics in the comment section down below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.